What's going on, Gemini? And welcome to my channel, Alchemist. Justin here, and I hope you're having a wonderful week so far. So, for those of you who are returning, welcome back, Soul Tribe. I appreciate your subscriptions, your likes, and shares. Your support really is just the greatest, Gemini. And it keeps us growing. And for those of you who are new, welcome. I'm happy Higher Self has brought you here. We're in for an amazing journey. Because it's a general energy weekly spread. Hope you like that little jig there, Gemini. But with this weekly spread, whenever you happen to come across this video, there may be some messages in here for you. And just so you're all aware, this is a general reading, not a one-to-one. So take what resonates with you, leave the rest with me, and never force a reading on a situation, okay? So with all that being said, let's jump into it. Your space has been cleansed. Crystals, feeling lovely. Just a great angel around here, Gemini. So pull a few oracle cards from this deck here, and then we'll get some details with the tarot. But before we jump into this thing, these readings that I do, they're not gender-specific readings, so apply these energies to people as they make sense for your situations, okay? And in case if y'all were curious, the decks that I'm working with, I've included links for them down in the description box below, so definitely check that out if you're interested. But also down below some links for some other readers that are like watching Gemini, so definitely check them out. Very intuitive group. I think you really enjoy them. Now let's get into your first card here. Oh, and I hope you're feeling intuitive, Gemini, because you got the first card of Scorpios here, which is the crystal ball card. What do you see in your future there, Gemini? Because with this card, this is a card of intuition, premonition, seeing clearly, discernment, perception, sixth sense, instinct, divination, future planning, ESP, past, present, future, gut reaction, and inner knowing. We got a couple energies coming through here, Gemini. And so, yeah, you got the intuition here, and you got the instincts that are coming through here, Gemini. And I'm wondering if with those popping up, if we've been maybe for some having troubles like trusting our instincts. It's like, you know, when you have those situations where in your gut you know that something's right or you know that something's going to happen, but then there's just like, well, maybe it won't, or maybe something will be different, or maybe it won't go like this, or maybe it's just kind of all in my head, and then things just plan out or pan out exactly as you thought they would. And I feel like that it's those type of moments like where your higher self is kind of winking at you because you're associated with the Lovers cards, Gemini, and I feel like that's a really cool energy to be connected to because that is in a way it's like when you bring the two, I feel like the twins, you being the communicators of the zodiac, you know, when you bring the twins or when they're on the same page there, you do receive, I feel like, these divine messages and are able to communicate with these higher forces. That is really cool, you know, being because it's like you Pisces, and I'd even can throw even Sagittarius in the mix as being like a sign of duality. Consider they're like, you know, that centaur. They're doing a lot, but then they're your opposite sign. But I do feel like that there is this need or there's this kind of calling for your higher self, or however you connect to source, your angels, your spirit guides, ancestors, are just trying to get you to trust that instinct a little bit more and kind of follow those intuitive insights and those intuitive when so you know like when you feel like maybe compelled to try something, or if there's like a call, like if something is calling to you, or you can't really explain it by just logic alone. I feel like there's a need to get into that space. Maybe there's doing some meditation, or maybe it's getting out in nature, or maybe it might even be kind of reading a book, whatever helps you just kind of get into that zen space and kind of just to tune in into those. Maybe you're reading, you know, maybe you're doing some scrying there, Gemini. How exciting would that be? I actually got a crystal ball sitting over here, Gemini. That's dope. And you know, crystal quartz, considering that, just a little sidebar, you know, crystal quartz, that's good energy considering that you're ruled by Mercury. Nice little energy to keep that head clear, keep your mind, keep your energy sharp there. And consider how all over the place I can be, I was like, hell yeah, let's go ahead and get one of those on the mix there. But you know, when I think about like Scorpio energy too, that's about, you know, Scorpio energy is not about surface level. They're about really kind of going to the depths of things. And that's where I feel like this energy is kind of asking you to kind of take that deep dive and kind of really kind of learn more about yourself and see where there may be any sort of like dissonance like internally that's going on there that's needing that balance, because you do have, we all have a different side, Gemini, but I feel like that's very distinct in your energies. And I feel like it's like when you're able to get that those energies on the same page again, like wonderful things can happen here. But and how funny, Gemini, I was talking about crystal quartz. Got another little one right here for you, so pay attention to those energies. But let's go ahead and get some tarot on this and get some details. I like that. Look at you, Emperor. Thank you. Let's see what's going on here, Gemini. Oh. Alright, we got some major arcanas in here. I'm with it. So you have the Fool here, the Devil, the Emperor, the Page of Cups, and then the Ten of Swords here, Gemini. And that's interesting with the Page of Cups there. I feel that there is a need to kind of tap into, for some, it's like when we're approaching this thing, it's not to come at it with this sort of like, when we're thinking about intuition and spirituality and things, to come at it with almost with like this youthful type of innocence, and say that curiosity. I feel like that is very, kind of essential to your energies as well. Because I feel like maybe for some in the past that maybe we felt like that our guts, our instincts may have betrayed us, or that we've or there's just been this reason or something that's been here that's been kind of like oppressing us, or that it's either that, or there's even this energy of, it's like we're thinking something to death here in a sense, because I'm thinking about when we're on like the traditional, like the Rider White tarot, there's usually this figure that has all these swords in their back. And I feel like that is one of those energies that, you've thought about it from 100 different perspectives, and it's just like that we can't seem to, that there's not a need to really think about when it comes to that instinct. It is something more that you're, and I know that might be tricky being an air sign, being a more kind of logical sign, but there's this need to not really kind of overthink this thing, to kind of sort of jump into it again with that sort of like youthful innocence, that sort of like that curiosity, that wanting to know and expand more about yourself. And then even with the Devil here, there are going to be times, I feel like, because I'm not getting really like toxic vibes or anything like that. It feels more about putting in that work in order to really kind of hone that skill. Because I mean, look at that. The Devil's got all these ghost Pokemon on here. And, the things that you can't quite see, the more kind of intangible. Because, little sidebar there, ghost Pokemon are immune to physical attacks. Usually. The game's changed up now. We're going to geek out for a second. But it's, like it's, these are very spiritual energies that I feel like that are coming through here with the Devil. And that's funny that that's on Capricorn, a very kind of practical kind of earth sign, the Devil's Capricorn. But I feel that it would help you help you take charge and help you navigate this realm more naturally, and just like and to move more instinctually, and just like, and again, it's just like we may not be able to explain it in that moment, but it's just like I feel like it pans out in the long run there, Gemini. But let me get a little bit more with this Devil energy here. Ooh. Oh, Gemini. I'm loving all this major arcana popping through here. Ooh, and I love that opposite signs that pop up there. And I like that because you have the Hermit, Virgo energy, the Moon, Pisces energy, and then you have the Three of Wands here. And I bring those two up because I like that. because when you think about what Virgo and because we can learn a lot from our opposite signs there, Gemini. And when it comes to Virgo and Pisces, I like talking about these two in particular because Pisces is a very spiritual, very psychic, intuitive. They're just really naturally it just is synced up with the universal energies. And their purpose here is to learn from Virgo is how do you take all that powerful intuition and incorporate that in the day-to-day life. Whereas Virgo on the opposite end operates very well in this 3D realm, is very flexible and adaptable in that sense. But then how do you apply that? How do you learn the more intuitive side of that? Kind of separate yourself and connect with the divine in that way. And I feel like it's one of those things that it's a long road, but it does lead to this level of expansion here. And that's where I feel like the devil, it's this energy more so of this work that's being put into this thing rather than something that is a toxic energy. And maybe that's something may have seen this energy as well. Maybe there was this force. Just thinking with the Emperor, maybe there was this energy of maybe we don't doubt that or haven't tapped into that side of ourselves because it was seen as something bad or something negative or something that when it's just your instincts there, Geminis, so it's your higher self trying to guide you to that highest vibration. Now how we utilize that, your intent with that energy, absolutely. It can be, whether we're operating on a positive or a negative end. That is absolutely up to you. But I feel like the energies aren't inherently good or bad. They're meant to be balanced. And it's all about, I feel like, trusting in the unknown and reflecting and learning a bit deeper about yourself and then letting that energy kind of shine through there. And this might be something where we might want to think about, maybe just think with the Three of Wands could be this kind of traveling energy, maybe to remove yourself from the environment and get yourself in a more kind of quiet space, possibly. But there's something to think about there, Gemini. I like that. Let's get another energy on the mix. Oh, speaking of Capricorn, so you got the ninth card of Cap, which is the Master card. And look at you honing these skills, because this is a card of discipline, working smart, focus, structure, teaching, training, conquer, overcome, controlled, learning a skill, in the flow, authoritarian, and commanding presence. All right, a couple more energies coming through here, Gemini. So there's the energy that's coming through here is the working smart in the flow. And I feel like with, when you start working on this intuition of yours, Gemini, really learning to listen to those guides and those because it's like the when you're like kind of tuned in, it's like it's thoughts that are they're your own thoughts, but it feels like there's this undercurrent that you can't quite explain, like it's you, but it's not quite you in a sense. It's very interesting. And I feel like as you start to get in the flow of that, that's when you start working smarter with these energies in this 3D realm here. You're able to make you feel these sudden flashes of inspiration, whether this be this could be at your work, possibly, maybe if you own your job, or own your own business, or even if you start to get inspired for maybe starting up different projects for yourself and things along those lines, it helps you it just gets you more in sync. And it just look at this figure just flowing like water. And look at that, there's almost like even like a little after image of himself. It's very, very cool energy. I feel like when we really start to trust that intuition a little bit more and start to really kind of notice what signs are there, what signals are coming through there and how they come through and how it translates very differently on all of us there, Gemini. But it's something, and that's something too. We want to be mindful of that. Is sometimes I feel we can say that we're not intuitive or we're not these things when you absolutely are. If we get in that mindset, then that's what locks in. Your thoughts are very powerful, but when you get into the mind of I'm a powerful intuitive, I'm in sync with the energies. It's a different type of bond there. And again, it just helps you to rise up and kind of take charge of. I feel like life starts to feel less random when you start to sync up with that. You can catch the signs a lot sooner and be able to stand and take these challenges, whatever comes your way, head on. Gemini. But let's get some tarot on this and get some details. All right, Gemini, I love this. So you got the King of Pentacles here, the Four of Pentacles, the Two of Wands, and then that lovely Sun there, Gemini. Let's start with the Two of Wands, because again, I feel that it's like, you know, as you start to get in the flow of this engine, I'm even getting like a Two of Pentacles types of vibe when things start syncing up like that. It helps you even like when you're making decisions, you know, like when we're deciding to like, oh, does it make sense for us to go this way, or what the energy feels right. I feel like it helps you get, as you start to unlock this stuff, you start to feel a little more grounded and a little more stable in how you're operating in. But there's a need to work with this stuff there first, you know, to kind of to get in that flow, to tap into those reserves there with the Four of Pentacles being here. And I feel like too, even with the Four of Pentacles, again, it's not like not just trusting what you see, you know, it's trusting what you feel as well. You know, I feel like it's, and then you really start to see things a lot clearer here with the Sun card being here. And then that could get you, I feel, closer to your happiness and closer to your fulfillment, and then closer again to that stability, and where you start really manifesting your abundance and things. Because, you know, the King of Pentacles, you know, where he is, this one of, for me, is one of Virgo's cards. And the King of Pentacles, he can be a little skeptical sometimes. You know, he's very rooted in the earth, and you know needs to see it to believe it. But even when you think about like this, like just thinking about like manifestation, you know, what it's like when you've wanted something, you thought about it, you got the resources for it, and then bam, it was there. Or when you went to go do some type of art, it's something like that. You go to, there's even thinking about creation and creating, you know, it starts off as a thought, and then you manifest it, and it's just like, well, where did that thought come from? You know, it's just like, what inspired that? Where, you know, those, it's like, and it's like asking those kind of deeper questions too. And I feel like when we're talking to Ten of Swords, it's like, instead of overthinking it, it's thinking about it in a different way, and how, instead of like, how is this thing, how does this work, it's just like, how can I make it work more, you know, so that you can, and then I feel like that understanding kind of just naturally comes into being there, Gemini, if that makes sense. But all right, I think that's good with that one there, Gemini. All right, let's go ahead and get your last card here. Oh, and here's one of your cards, Gemini. I love that. So you got the eighth card of you, which is the Wheel of Karma card. And with this card, this is a card of karma, dharma, destined, inevitable, cause and effect, divine intervention, cycles, luck, fortune, rise and fall, circumstances, consequences, divine will, and blind justice. And the energy that's coming through here, Gemini, is the divine intervention. And I like that. You know, and I almost feel like that, and that's a little, well, the first thing that I thought of was when you kind of host an intervention for, you know, when someone's, you know, when you're needing to, I feel like that your higher self is trying to host a divine, like an intervention with you, Gemini, to really kind of like check in and just like, I still am getting your energy, and it's like, well, duh, we're in the Gemini reading, but I really am kind of getting a strong lover's energy, in the sense of like that communicating with your higher selves and your spirit guides, and learning what that looks like. You're learning what that feels like. And again, I feel like it's going to help you just intuit a lot more efficiently, and it's just like it's going to help get those twins on the same page and get where you're manifesting just a lot faster, you know what I mean? But I do feel like there's this openness that's needing to happen here, this surrender, almost, in a sense, you know, tapping into that, because you know, speaking of talk about learning from our opposite signs, your opposite sign being Sagittarius, they're a very spiritual sign. They're about that divine knowing, where I feel like you're all about, finding different pieces of little everything, just learning as much as you can. Sagittarius pieces all that stuff together to see that big picture. But being Jupiter ruled, Jupiter is about that expansion, that growth, that spirituality, that divine, that sense of something bigger than yourself there. And that's where I feel like it's theirs, and it's just finding how that looks like on you, and then making that more sort of deeper, more profound type of connection. Again, I feel like, meditation possibly, or doing something creative, maybe working with your hands, or doing some writing, even possibly, whatever that looks like. That's always one thing I like talking about, especially with people who have either, who have mercurial placements, Gemini or Virgo, that there is that, being that you are, a big factor is your mind, being able to really dive into that, even getting like that left brain, right brain type of energy connection. There's something just really fantastic, Gemini. Let's get some tarot on this and find out. Here, I have a little abundant pocket here, Gemini. Let's see what's going on. Oh, look at you, Hierophant. I like that. So you have the Ace of Wands, the Six of Cups, the Nine of Swords, the Seven of Wands, the Knight of Wands, and then the Knight of Swords here. And let's switch back over. We got a lot to process here, Gemini. And I feel like that there is this energy with the Nine of Swords, or with the Nine of Swords and the Seven of Wands here, that there's this criticism that might be kind of going on here. There's just like this very much still very in our heads about this energy, and it seems like it doesn't feel like it's necessarily affecting your abundance, but I feel like it's keeping it from coming as fast as it could if we were to kind of work with this energies a little bit more. And I feel like that maybe for some there's this energy in the past of, with the Six of Cups being here, that maybe something was said, or that there was this critique, and it was like maybe it was something that was maybe shamed, or that it was just something here, like a certain idea, or like it's like we've took it as like a maxim or something along those lines. It made us stick to a more sort of like conventional approach to life, and that there's nothing anything wrong with that. But it just, again, I feel like that things would be moving a lot faster if we started to, act as this, because we're spiritual beings going through this human experiences. We're like this conduit, Gemini, between the spiritual and the physical realm. And I feel like that energy with the Hierophant is one that's wanting to get out there. And this could be something too. Maybe we're looking for like a teacher possibly in this, in like meditation, or in breath work, or in whatever, maybe in crystals, maybe in just a numerous, sort of spiritual practices here, Gemini. And this might be something too, we might be feeling this sort of push maybe right now, if this is something that's resonating with you to explore this as sudden energy here, is that because Saturn, just think about Cap's ruler, Saturn is in Pisces right now, and that's forming a square with your sign. And so it's like one of those things that we can work with this energy and kind of accept that there is this because we're in a very, all of us are in a very sort of like, it is a very spiritual type of cycle right now. And I feel like it's going to be like that for the next couple of years, until we kind of shift gears, and then things are gonna take an interesting little turn there, I feel. But I do feel like with the Six of Cups too, there's an accepting these abilities of ours. Maybe you were able to commune with spirits, have a deeper type of connections. Maybe we're seeing ancestors are able to commune with that. But again, it was chalked up as I'm just talking with someone about that not too long. It's but I do feel like there's a lot to think about with this energy, Gemini, you know, but I feel like try not to overthink it. Explore it. Be that curious self. Go with a sort of kind of a playfulness. I mean, but again, I'm kind of feeling with the, oh, not with him, but with the, with the Knight of Wands there. And you know, with the Knight of Swords, he has an open mind as well. This for me is Aquarius energy, and he's a type that embraces the more kind of eclectic, the more sort of eccentric type of energies, that uniqueness. And yeah, just pay attention here, Gemini, because yeah, something I feel like is kind of calling us to action here, and just explore a different side of yourself. But I think I'm gonna leave that there. So if you like that, Gemini, if anything resonated with you, give it a thumbs up and share this, Gemini. I'd love to see that. Just powerful, intuitive, just all around here, just really kind of navigating the space with confidence and ease, and understanding the lessons that come through, and just then doing that, just that shadow work, and do just all types of growth. They're all over the place. Let's go and get that started. And if you haven't already there, Emperor, subscribe, hit that. I feel like I've been saying that a lot of Emperor energy coming through here, but subscribe. You know what, might be because that full moon is coming up here, Gemini, so something to think about. And subscribe, hit that bell button, you get notified when I release videos each week. And then lastly, I don't think you got any Cancer cards, and not that you need them, but if you got any Cancer in your placements, Sun, Moon, Rising, for you, even Venus, Mercury, come on over to the Chariot, friends. I do videos Monday through Friday there. We discuss lunar shenanigans, even when they're Pisces, and all that housekeeping is down in the description box below. I feel like I've been saying that a lot too. But let me get your surprise cards here so I can get you out of here. And I like that you got the Page of Swords here, that curiosity, that wonder, those questions. You know, I feel like it's what is that little tick, or what is that, like, you think about something, you get like a certain smell, or maybe you get like a certain taste, or maybe you start hearing the songs, or and I do feel like for some too that there's this energy of, maybe we chalked it up as like, maybe thinking that we're, crazy, or we're thinking this, or we're thinking that, or whatever that negativity that I was feeling earlier. And I feel like it's changing that mindset as well. Because again, remember, your thoughts are very powerful, Gemini. And if you do these, if you get in those sort of like self-deprecating energies to make yourself smaller than you really are, it's because that power doesn't go anywhere. But if we just keep diminishing that, it just makes it harder to access. So this could even be really just a change in thought process here, Gemini. But let's go ahead and get your oracle card so I can get you out of here. Thank you. Alright, Gemini, I like that. So you got the 48th card here, which is the Poised card. And I feel like that with this energy is that is just maybe we've been just a little too rigid, or always having to feel like we're needing to be a certain type of way. There's a certain refinement, or this certain thing, like, no, we don't try, like, like, that's just, and it's just it's giving me very dismissive type of energy. But I do feel like that there's this freedom here in this Poise card. And I feel like that is like when she's in the flow, it's a different type of poise that's kind of coming through there. A different type of structure. It's like, it's a more, almost like High Priestess in a sense. Like very intuitive, very, very just, very in sync with the energy. She doesn't have to explain herself. She just knows. And that's like, I feel like the type of poise that's coming on here, Gemini, as opposed to like that. I'm almost getting a little bit of the arrogance with the Emperor here. Just like we just know it all, but it's a little bit different. I feel like what's coming through with that poise, just very, I like that. I hope that makes sense. But all right, you stay safe out there, Gemini. This intuition just oozing around here. And you raise your vibration through the roof. Have a divine intervention with yourself there. To connect with your spirit guides, and just come into your highest vibration there, Hybro fan. And I will catch you on the next one. Later.